Hi, this is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. What do you bring with you when you travel? Do you just live with whatever the hotels and the airlines give you? Or do you actually do a little pre-planning? I travel a lot. About every weekend or so, I'm usually in the air going somewhere. I just travel a lot for one of my jobs that I work for. So I have to do some planning. I can't just make it up as I go along. So what is a bariatric carnivore to do? Well, I have some things that I take with me on every single trip. I like sardines. I'm not saying that you have to eat sardines. Don't judge me. I just happen to like sardines, and I like them with mustard. So I've got a couple of emergency tins of sardines that with some mustard packets in them. That plus portable fork and plastic fork and knife, and they go with me on every trip. And sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get into a town, the flights are delayed, things happen, and every place for dinner is closed except for whatever they have in the snack food bin, and I don't want that stuff. I mean, look at the average snack food bin at a hotel, and it's just pure carbs and sugar and stuff with preservatives. I don't want it. So I have emergency food with me. Now for the flights, do not, please, for the love of God, don't eat what the airlines give you. I mean, grab one. On your next flight, just take it and look at it and realize what's on that ingredient label. It's corn, wheat, vegetable oil, preservatives, all this other glop, all mixed together and formed into that's not food, that's human pet chow. I mean, that's just something right out of a horrible sci-fi nightmare's chemist's worst nightmare. That is stuff that will make you very unhealthy. So don't eat it. Put it in the, after you've looked at the label and you've said, gosh, I'm glad I'm not taking part of that one, just crush it up and give it to the stewardess when she comes by. And hopefully nobody else will eat them either. I always carry with me some beef sticks, and they come in a lot of different varieties nowadays. Thankfully, there's more places that cater to carnivores and keto people, etc. And there's a lot of beef sticks out there that don't have preservatives, that don't have any chemical additives. They're just pure beef. Some of them even don't have salt, some have salt, and they are delicious. So that's what I munch on while I'm flying. I also happen to be one of these guys who can eat cheese. I occasionally will eat some cheese, and I like it on flights because it kind of makes me feel like it's a kind of a special event. So I bring some cheese with me. Generally speaking, I cut up my own cheese. I get a big block of it. When you use those individualized packets, they've got lots of glucose, lots of powder of different stuff. Mostly, they cover it with different carbs so it doesn't stick to the packaging. So I kind of recommend you don't get the small individual packages. Cut up your own cheese, put it in a Ziploc, take it with you if you like cheese. If you don't worry about it. But if I don't eat the cheese on the flight, I always save it for breakfast in the morning because I also bring my own hard-boiled eggs. I figure, if I can have 3 hard-boiled eggs and some cheese first thing in the morning, that's a good breakfast. Now, they may have breakfast at the hotel that I'm staying at, and sometimes they've got hard-boiled eggs. Sometimes they have real bacon. Sometimes they'll have just regular sausage, not with a bunch of fillers in it. And in which case, I'll have some of that. But if you looked at the rest of a breakfast bar at the average hotel, they've got orange juice full of sugar, yogurt's full of sugar, those waffles are full of sugar, they got sweet buns full of sugar. The whole place is just absolutely full of sugar. It would send my glucose through the roof. It would be more carbs than I would have in a month in just any one of those single items. And it would throw me into an absolute coma. I'd have a carb coma after eating one of those things. So I don't do that, but I do carry around with me about at least, usually on a 2-day weekend trip or something like that, about a half dozen hard-boiled eggs. And they're ready to go because I want to make sure I'm going to have something good for breakfast. And that usually takes care of me for the rest of the day. And the cool thing about it is, most days when I'm traveling, there's almost always a place where I can get meat. Good barbecue place, steakhouse, there's something. Just make sure you ask the people that are working there, please don't put vegetable oil on my stuff. Stay away from the sides. Just, I go there, I just order a steak and, tell them don't bother putting the sides on it. All I want is a steak. You can get a hamburger. You can go to McDonald's and get quarter pounder patties, and you get, and if you just ask them for the quarter pounder patties, they'll give them to you. They'll sell them to you cheaper than they will the sandwich, and I think they're pretty darn good. If you want ketchup and mustard on it, you can get that on there if you want. I don't recommend it, but you could. But you don't need to have the bun. So just order quarter pounder patties. I'll order 3 or 4 of them, and that'll take care of me in a pinch for a meal. So there's lots of options. You don't have to eat high end. It's, keto carnivore doesn't have to be expensive. And you can take care of yourself during emergencies with just a little pre-planning. Heck, it can get you out of mask mandates. I mean, if they ever bring back the mask mandate, try what I did. See, the federal government, for some reason, decided that, everybody on an airplane had to wear a mask for a couple of years. And I thought that was rather silly, because they also said you didn't have to wear a mask if you were actively eating or drinking. Because apparently science says that, when people are actively eating and drinking, COVID doesn't spread. So no viruses could be spread while I was actively eating or drinking. So being a good citizen who did not want to spread COVID, I brought with me ribeyes. And I would sit there, and as soon as we got up to 10,000 feet, I'd flop open my tray table, and I'd bring out my plastic cutlery, and I'd start eating my steak. And do you know how long it takes to eat a 20-ounce ribeye with plastic cutlery? Yeah, the duration of a flight. So that's what I did during COVID, and that's why I was the guy that all the stewardesses kind of looked at with either scorn or with absolute humor, and we all had a good time. And I didn't spread COVID. I couldn't spread COVID while I was actively eating and drinking, and I was actively eating and drinking the whole flight. So anyway, this is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. If you like this message, please like, subscribe. It helps channels grow. It helps me get this message out to more people. So have a great weekend. If that's what's, when you catch this video, I'm putting it out on Friday, but I'm leaving tomorrow morning. And I hope you guys, enjoy the weekend. I will see you next week with a new message.